Hello everyone, I am Mark Angelo L. Pagulayan, a student of Lorma Colleges on the Department of College of Nursing. In this subject, Anatomy and Physiology Laboratory. This activity, it will be about our cardiovascular system entitled Pig Heart Dissection. Today is September 24, 2023, and I will be discussing the major chambers of the heart, valves, and vessels of the heart, and then describe the blood circulation of the heart through the heart to the lungs, and then back and out to the rest of the body. So everyone, what I have here is a pig's heart. A pig's heart can be acquired anywhere, in a market, in a butchery, or any person you can find which can have this heart. You know, the pig's heart is actually similar to our body heart, human body heart. That's why it is commonly and usually used to represent our heart. It's quite similar because it has the blood vessels, arteries, and the veins, which our human heart contains. It's also quite a similar size, like fist size. It's the same as our heart. So let's get on to it. Grab your kits and let's proceed to the dissection. So everyone, before proceeding to dissection, join me. So grab your gloves, some cutter if necessary, a dissecting kit, your tray, dissecting pan, and especially the most important ingredient is your pig's heart. Let's go. Now let us examine the external structure of the heart, the pig's heart. First, let us proceed to the pericardium of the heart, or the thin membrane that covers the heart. The pericardium is all over the heart. We have here the tissues that covers it all in all over the heart. The pericardium, or the pericardial sac, is the double layer closed sac that surrounds the heart and anchors it here all over it. Now after the pericardium we have the myocardium. Now the myocardium is the muscle of our hearts, and most of the myocardium is located in the lower two chambers of the heart called the ventricles. These are the ventricles that we have here. This is the right ventricle and this is the left ventricle. See? The left ventricle, right ventricle. Then next, let us locate the apex of the heart. Remember, the apex of the heart is located on the bottom, on the base of the heart. And it's located on here, the left ventricle. Extends all the way on the base, on the lower part of the ventricle. Then, now, after pinpointing the external structure of the heart, let us talk about the four chambers of the heart, which we have two, the atria and the ventricles. First, let's talk about the atrium of the heart. We have the right atrium right here, this muscle right here, right beside this one, and our left atrium is this one, is the left atrium. And our ventricles, we have this right ventricle and our left ventricle. Remember, our left ventricle extends all the way to the apex. Our left ventricle is actually bigger and muscular because it supplies the oxygenated blood into our body. And this, again, our right atrium, which is smaller than the left atrium. Now, put down our heart and now after pinpointing the chambers of the heart, we have the left atrium, the right atrium, the right ventricle, and the left ventricle. Let us proceed to the valves and arteries and vessels of this heart. First is the coronary artery. This blood vessel lies on the groove on the front of the heart, and it branches over into the heart front, this right here, and to the back of the side. Yep, this one, which supply the fresh blood with oxygen and nutrients to the heart muscle itself. This is our coronary artery. This one. This one. Coronary arteries. And then we have the pulmonary artery. This is our pulmonary artery. This one, this tube right here. Right next to this tube. Wait, let me put one next to you. This is our pulmonary artery. This one, which it branches and carries blood to the lungs and receive oxygen, which can be found curving out to the right ventricle. This is our right ventricle. Here. To the pulmonary artery into the right ventricle. Next is our aorta, which is the major vessel of our heart, the biggest artery in our body. This, the aorta. Just behind the pulmonary artery, we can locate this, the aorta. This can be located also and to just the middle part of the heart. Branching from the aortic arch is a large artery that supplies oxygen on our upper body. That is our aorta. Next is also our pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins is right here. The pulmonary veins is right here. The pulmonary veins. These are vessels that return oxygenated blood from the right and left lungs to the left atrium. These are our pulmonary veins. We have actually two tubes in this one, two holes right here, and this is our right atrium. No, left atrium, by the way. The left atrium here. The pulmonary veins through the left atrium. And then we have the superior and inferior vena cava. With this heart, the superior and superior vena cava is not actually visible anymore, but the vena cava is here. This one. This is the vena cava, which actually has two blood vessels that are located in and interconnected with this valve. This vena cava is located on the left of the heart and connected to the right atrium. This is our vena cava, which connects to our right atrium. This one. This is the right atrium. The vena cava is right here. The oxygenated blood enters the body through these vessels into the right, the right receiving chamber, and used to probe to fill down the right atrium. This one. These vessels also do not contain valves to control the blood flow. So additional information. Again, that is are the arteries, veins, and of our heart. These are the pulmonary artery. It's a coronary artery that extends all the way from the front to the back of our heart. Our aorta is this one. Our pulmonary veins is here, interconnected with our left atrium. And our our vena cava right here is interconnected with our right atrium. Now, let's put down our pig's heart and proceed with the dissection. Now, I have another heart right here which I'll be using for the dissection. First, let me show you something around. As you can see here, there are white parts on the top of our heart, the upper portion, the superior part. There are white parts that covers it through the front and the back. As you can see, this white part, these are actually fats, yeah. So look out, because if your heart might have too much fats that are close to it, control your diet, everyone. Now let us proceed to the dissection of the heart. First, we will be cutting it parallelly through the pulmonary artery just onto the side of it. Then continue cutting down into the wall, this part, to the wall, to the right ventricle. And this is the right ventricle. Just be careful not to cut it deep enough, so let's get on to it. First, let us cut it. I'm gonna use a cutter because I think it will be effective if I use this one. Now let's cut. Let's proceed. Hold on to your heart and then proceed on cutting it. Just onto the side of the pulmonary artery. Cut it. That's right here. Careful not to damage the other parts. There, we'll cut our opening. There we have it. And just cut all the way through here. Just on the right ventricle. Remember not to cut all the way through the left one. Let me use the scalpel. Now begin our opening to it. Yep, perfect. Try not to cut yourself in this cutting part. Just be careful. Okay, now let us open this one. No, so you cut enough. Let's cut this part too. Okay, good enough. Now what we have here is our right ventricle. Open up here. Now open up. Now once you have cut the heart on the side of the pulmonary artery, use your fingers to open up this internal structure and see if there's any dried blood. Wash it and rinse out the heart. Now let us locate our right atrium. Still here, still intact. Our right atrium right here. This one, our right atrium. This is our right atrium. And then notice the thinner muscular wall of this receiving chamber. Actually small. Let's cut right into it, everyone. Right atrium. Yep, this is actually thin walls. It is actually thin walls that covers the right atrium. Again, this is our right atrium. And let us locate the inferior and superior vena cava. Again, we have no superior and inferior vena cava still intact here, but we have the vena cava that is here. Use your probe to locate it. This one just right on our left atrium, our right atrium. This is our vena cava. They're located with our right atrium, in which this chamber they're lacking of valves. Actually, there are not much valves around here. Next, let us locate the valve between the right atrium and the right ventricle. This is the valve that is, I believe this is the valve. This right here, we have here the valve right here. Because if you put it back, This is the part. This is our tricuspid valve. If it is intact, it will be just a tube-like valve. This is our tricuspid valve, in which it allows blood from the right atrium into the right ventricle during diastole. It's a period when the heart is relaxed, everyone. When the heart begins to contract is also the systole phase. In this part, the ventricular pressure increases until it is greater than the pressure in the atrium, causing the tricuspid to snap closed. Everyone try to feel the thickness of this right ventricle right here, because there are a note of irregular muscular cords in the inner wall in this chamber. There are the cords right here. This one. The codes. Now find the septum on the right side on the right ventricle. Find the septum. We have here the septum. And then the thick muscular wall that separates the right and left ventricle, which pumping ventricles from each other. Our septum is right here actually. It's the thick muscle. The thick muscle right here separates the right and left ventricle. Then inside the right ventricle, locate the pulmonary artery that carries blood away from this chamber. Our pulmonary artery is right here. Use your probe again to feel it. If you enclose this one, this is our prima pulmonary artery. Goes through the right ventricle. Here, this is our pulmonary artery. Now, this pulmonary artery is a valve that controls blood flow away from the right ventricle at the entrance to this vessel. Now let us proceed to the next incision or cutting. Now after examining the right part of the heart, let us proceed to the left part of our heart, which is the left atrium and the left ventricle. Now using a scissor, a sharp knife, a cutter, or a scalpel, you can use anything that you want. Continue to cut open the heart. Start a cut on the outside on the left atrium toward into the left ventricle in this part. The left atrium cut right here into the left ventricle and toward the apex to the septum at the center of the growth. Now let us start cutting it. Here I'm using a cutter. Cut toward just parallelly and nicely and gently. Okay, we're not there yet. Continue opening it. Just cut and cut. Very gently though. Do not overcut it. Okay, you miss the scalpel. And here we have it. Cut through this atrium. Here we still have the atrium intact. Let's leave it here for a better image. Now let us open the heart at its cut with the fingers. And if you see any dried blood, please rinse it out. So here. Okay, not cutting through it yet because I'm having a nice image right here actually. And here we have it. Let us examine the left atrium. We have here the left atrium. Let us find the openings of the pulmonary veins from the lungs. And here we have actually here the pulmonary veins right here, still intact. You have it here. It's the pulmonary veins going through the right atrium right here. This is the right atrium again. So pulmonary veins, right atrium. Now let's just observe the one-way semilunar valves at the entrance of these veins. Inside the chamber, look for the valve that controls the blood flow between the upper atrium and lower left ventricle. This is called our bicuspid or the mitral valve. This is the bicuspid or the mitral valve. In here we still actually have its cords that is actually intact with it. It's actually beautiful, as you can see. Yep, I wonder if it is the same on our hearts. And then let us cut open it to see if this valve consists of two leaflets and blood flows from the left atrium into the left ventricle doing diastole. It's sad to ruin it. Okay, let's cut it open. There we have it. In here, let's go open to the atrium too. Just cut it open. Gently. Try not to cut yourself, everyone. Safety first, okay? Here we have it. There we go. Better view. Here we have the bicuspid valve, everyone. This is the bicuspid valve. We can actually see two leaflets right here. 1 and 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. This is the two leaflets that we're talking about, which is the bicuspid valve. And everyone, can you notice the thickness of the muscle here of the left ventricle? The ventricular wall, it's so thick. Because this heart chamber is responsible for pumping blood throughout the body. So it needs more muscular structure. See it? It's very thick. Like making me want to eat it. Like a meat. Fatless meat. Now let us cut open through it again. And everyone, remember, this is our bicuspid valve. So this is our lower part of the ventricle. It's very thick, you know. Again, it's our left atrium, pulmonary valve right here. Now let us proceed with the cutting on this part towards the aorta. We're going to cut it again. You can use anything that you want to cut it. Let us cut across the left ventricle through the aorta. Now let us continue cutting to expose the valve here. Okay. This is our aorta actually. This is the aorta. Now let us cut it open. Gently, everyone. Now let's cut through it. There. Cutting complete. As you can see, we have here the aorta cut open. See here, everyone, the aorta. This is the aorta. The aorta. Now let us examine it on the inside. On the inside, we have here the three flaps or leaflets on this valve reading from the left ventricle here, left ventricle into the aorta, and note their half moon shape. As you can see here, these leaflets, half moon actually. As you can see, that's all. This is a full moon, it's actually round, but it's actually a half moon. The leaflets are like a smiley face to me. Smile. And these are the leaflets. The three leaflets counted. It must have a three leaflets or flaps. Now let us cut through again the aorta and find the hole or the coronary sinus in the wall of this major artery, and which leads to the coronary artery, which carries the blood to and nourishes the heart and muscle itself. Let us locate our coronary artery. She's actually right. It's supposed to be here. What do we have here? Oh, here we have here. inside the coronary arteries, through it, through and through. Now open it again to examine the coronary sinus in the walls of this major artery. Now to further examine this aortic valve right here, let us cut through this again to find the hole or the coronary sinus in the wall of this major artery. Let's cut through it again. Take my scalpel. It should be right here. This would be our coronary sinus, I believe. Further open it, let us have it here. There's a holes right here. It's actually the coronary sinuses of the aortic valve. Here we have holes in here, 1, 2, 3. It must be it, the coronary sinus. This leads into the coronary artery. Here, into the back, to the front, which actually the coronary artery extends to the heart, back and front. And this coronary arteries carries blood to and nourishes the heart muscle itself. Now, that's it for the heart. Let us have a recap again. Let's put it back. There we go. Again, everyone, this is our heart. This is our right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. Inside our left part, we have here the vena cava. The vena cava that is interconnected with our right atrium. And here we also have our tricuspid valve. The tricuspid valve right here, which allows blood flow from the right atrium into the right ventricle. And also we have here the septum. The septum that's pump that separates the right and left pumping ventricles from each other. Here, the septum is right here. This one. And the pulmonary artery we have right here, the pulmonary artery, which is interconnected with our right ventricle. And then in here, in our left side of the heart, we have the right atrium. Oh no, left atrium, correct. Left atrium and the left ventricle. Again, the left ventricle is thick because it's responsible for transferring and transporting oxygenated blood throughout the body. This is our bicuspid valve. We have the two leaflets right here. The bicuspid valve. And towards the bicuspid valve, we can see the aorta. This aorta, the major artery in our body. And it's 3 leaflets. 1, 2, 3. And through here, we have the coronary sinus. It's actually a hole right there. See? And in here on the left, we also have the pulmonary veins. This one. Okay. That's it for our pig's heart dissection, everyone. I hope you have learned something and understood the explanation that I have given. And I hope you can follow through the incision that I have also done. It's actually just pretty easy. Just cut it here, right open, then through here. Through and through. Just be gentle, everyone, that do not vigorously cut it. You might hurt yourself or ruin the heart, just like I did with the first heart that I have. Fortunately, I have a backup, so it's a good thing. And okay, that's it for the pig's heart dissection. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Now that is all, everyone, for our pig's heart dissection. That's actually pretty intense. I hope you can find yourself fun in this too. It actually is. It is interesting, the pig's heart, because we are exploring the parts of our own. It's actually similar to our own heart, yes? Yan. Before anything, in a laboratory, always clean the materials that you use. Put it back to the place where you pick it up and clean it. That is all for everyone. Again, I am Mark Angel L. Pagulayan from Normal College of Nursing, signing out.